showing online on YouTube. Hey, folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I am Robert, your resident Gen Xer, and right down there is John, our resident millennial. John, keep an eye on the tube and let me know
I
because
am.
maybe give yourself a refresh or something because I'm showing that
Um,
we're online and I am oh, no.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Sometimes John does know what he's talking about. Not usually, but sometimes John does know what he's talking about.
Mm, 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 mm.
But we should be live on D Live. So, what's up, everyone? We got Chicken Nogs over there. What's up, bro?
Hey, listen,
PhD first.
I'm gonna pop you on. John, jump on YouTube. We should have a live one going on there, not the one that I scheduled. Ultimately, because it's a restream thing that I didn't click.
Oh.
So throw that link out, and so it'll direct people. Because we should be streaming on YouTube. If you go to our channel,
Yeah, we are now.
should be there.
I gotcha.
Grab that link and throw it out there as a new link, please. That's my bad. That was a one click I didn't do.
Tisk, tisk,
Yeah,
tisk.
whatever. You know what? If I had the super system that was automated, it would just be so much easier. So, John,
Yeah.
how are you doing tonight?
Not too bad. Just, hanging out and stuff.
Yeah, I see Chicken Nogs, like you said. Chicken Nogs in there. He was first. You're saying
Yeah.
he's on D Live? He's out there on D Live this time, right?
Yep.
That's good. I'm wanting to lean more towards D Live anyway, so hopefully we'll start to get more viewers over there, and maybe consider transitioning from the old YouTuber.
Well,
Not that I want them to know that, but stuff happens.
I
Stuff happens.
don't
John,
know. I'm
go.
still a holdout for YouTube. It is the bigger platform. It's a lot more people use it. It's going to be easier to build an audience here. But yeah, moving over to D Live and other alternatives is probably for the best.
There's
Just
Anna
because of
Voltas showing up in the house. Nice to see you,
sure,
Anna
where's Anna
Voltas.
Voltis at?
Hey, John, it is February 14th. Some people
It is
call it
indeed.
VD Day or V Day, Valentine's Day. So, how was your Valentine's, John?
It was all right. I had to work.
Did
You know how
anybody
that
give
is.
you did anybody give you a Valentine? Be mine.
Just just you.
Did I?
You're the only one. Yeah.
That's sad.
It
I
is.
I have to admit I I don't care for the holiday. I think it's one of the dumbest holidays that we celebrate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like this to me. We have a one day in the year where that's the day you're supposed to be telling your significant other how much you love them. That's when it what? No,
Well,
surely
I think
not.
it's more of like a, young adult teen thing.
It's
More than
supposed to
it
be
is when you get
everybody.
older. No one
It's
really
supposed to be.
cares.
Well,
Yeah, I know,
it's
but I mean, people stop caring
I
after a while.
I actually think it's more insulting to do something on Valentine's for your partner because it's like, well, why the fuck aren't you doing shit
There's a
like
well,
this
yeah.
all the entire year? Why do
There's a
you need
sense of obligation to it. Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
honestly, it panders towards women more and creates this unnecessary expectation in relationships. You know, I mean, granted, when we're in school, everybody trades them back and forth, trades back little valentines and lollipops back and
Yeah.
forth and stuff. But you know, still, I mean, you look at commercials on the TV, and it's always jewelry commercials for her and for her and for her and for her, and every once in a great while there's a for him. But hey, I
And
see
it's like
Cameron
underwear or
Michael, I see
something.
Henry roaming around up there. Where are they out there? Now they're
Hey,
saying they're
Henry
in.
was just over on D Live, right? Unless it's a
Uh,
different Chicken Nugs.
Oh, so
I
which
don't know.
YouTube are they on? Oh, I've got the old chat pulled up for that, so I'm just gonna have to
I was gonna
find.
say, is that why you saw Anna Voltis? Because I didn't see him.
Yeah, Send him something in Discord. Send him the link in Discord so he swaps over to the right one and he can join us. I wouldn't mind having him in this chat. But yeah, when it's just really, it just seems insulting. Like, right? To not be doing. You should be showing your love all year long, right? I mean, if it takes that day for your partner to know that you care about them, maybe you need to be checking into your partner, right? Like maybe you need, maybe a trade up is due. Um, it's a very overly commercialized holiday, very much like Christmas. Um, and I don't know. I don't know what it. I don't buy into it. I just don't get it.
Oh, see, look, Henry's already throwing us Valentine's Day
Oh my god.
gifts. He
Oh my
said, I
god.
just came over on YouTube so I can smash that like button. Damn right.
Mhm.
Thank you, sir. You are a gentleman and a scholar.
Now, or Fap and Cry
Fap and
Day,
cry day. Depending on, your relationship status.
right? Here's what. Would you like to know my favorite part of Valentine's Day?
Sure.
50% off candy tomorrow. I
Yeah.
mean, there's going to be a shit ton of chocolate going 50% off. And in another week, it'll be 75% off whatever's left. So I'll snag a bunch of that. That's
See,
okay.
I'm not a candy guy,
I know.
so
You don't like
yeah.
sweets so much,
Oh,
do you?
dude, Boulder Vaughn's showing up. What's up, man? Decided to ditch Steven, come to the Superior show.
Boulder Bond.
Hell yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, what's up, man? I'm just kidding too. I know Steven's gonna watch it later and be like, "You mother." No, he's not.
So now let me
There's
ask.
Anavoltus. What's up, bro?
Now, if I'm not, John, did you call your significant other today and do Valentine's smooshies over the phone or anything?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you do that? Yeah.
I do. I'm totally gay like that.
Is
It's really lame.
How often do you do that outside of Valentine's Day, though?
A couple of times a week.
Because you're in
Yeah,
long, for those that don't know,
yeah,
you're an LDR, right? So,
right.
which a couple of times a week is good. So as long as you're consistent with that, I mean, enough to. Does she have an expectation of Valentine's Day?
Um, Not really. Neither of us are really like that kind of traditional, you know, we have to do all the right things at the right time and do all this kind of nonsense. It's just kind of more casual than that.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I figured I would start like really taking Valentine's Day seriously if I ever see a little short fucker flying around shooting arrows at people. If that never happens, then it's not a real holiday. Um, I love my
Yeah.
wife, and I tell her as often as possible. I show her we do things. It's I don't need to go out and get some card and a bunch of flowers and chocolate. I mean, flowers.
Right.
Get my wife flowers.
Yeah, what's she gonna do with
She's got a
them?
thousand flowers in the yard. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I'm not going to bring her something that's going to impress her. But yeah, it's ooh. Boulder Ron says he's on 6 streams at the same time.
How?
God.
Why? How do you pay attention to any of them? I don't understand. But I admire that you're here at least. I'm very happy for you that
I
you're here.
admire the I admire the fact that he can stream multitask that way.
I don't know how you can pay attention to any of them
That's
being
impressive
on,
shit
you
right
know.
there. So
Aw, look at that. We got a heart. We got a heart with an arrow through it. We got kissy lips and a rose. This is for you guys, says Henry. That's awesome.
see, and
We get
even
it. See, this is all the love we need right here from the chat. We don't need anyone else, right? All we need is the chat. And all the chat needs is us. Don't watch anyone else or we'll find you. We're very jealous streamers.
you know why I think Valentine's became what it became. I think that because it was more a patriarchal society much further back, that it was created to ensure there was at least one more day guys could guarantee they were going to get laid.
Yeah, I mean, because usually your guarantees are basically your birthday and Christmas. Like, those are the only guarantees.
That's
And
right.
then, yeah, you can add another one in February. Yeah, that makes sense.
But if you know how to lay that pipe, every day's Valentine's Day. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, look at Ron Helton throwing Clown Pepe out there.
Oh man,
Come
come at
find.
me.
Oh, Ed's in here too.
Yeah, 'cause
Come
I
find
was
me,
threatening the
boys.
chat, so they're challenging me now. So now I
Well,
gotta actually go and find them. God damn it!
find what?
Oh, I was saying, because we're jealous streamers, so if they watch any other streams, I'm gonna come find them, and they're all
Oh,
like, "Come find me," and it's like, oh damn it! Now I actually have to make good on it.
right.
Fuck.
Well, at least with Ed, you have a state to work with, right? You've got a state to
Yeah,
start,
yeah.
maybe even a city. Do we know the city behind the scenes? I
I
think we
do.
do.
I do. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
No,
it
no,
out
no, no.
loud.
I'm not
He
saying.
doesn't
That's why I
say it.
said
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
So
So,
yeah, yeah,
but yeah. So you could at least find Ed, and from there maybe springboard to others.
yeah. I don't know. I'll work it out. I expect to visit sometime in the next 10 to 12 years.
Yeah, he's Ron Helton's watching us and Stevens.
Hey,
Maybe we should
Ron,
just.
tell Steven we said hi.
Yeah, can you tell Stevens we said hi?
Tell him we said hi.
Tell him we really like his music, and make sure and tell us what he says.
And I don't think I do know your address. So
His keyboard is. Then what the fuck are you typing on right now? Is that speech recognition? What's going on?
maybe.
But anyway, so John, how have you been in our post-impeachment week?
It's just the same as any other week. The world hasn't ended yet, as
Nope.
usual.
Gotcha.
God damn it.
Sad
I keep
news.
hearing about how things are gonna just people are gonna die everywhere, and I heard that if Trump wasn't impeached, then the climate change would kill us all, and all this other kind of stuff. I don't
Well,
know.
well,
Just doesn't, it
it is
doesn't happen.
killing us all, John. Come on,
No,
climate
it was
change.
gonna be like instant. It's supposed to be instant.
Nothing is instant except coffee.
And
Um,
noodles.
there was some sad news this week because we had the New Hampshire primary on Tuesday, which was not a shit show like Iowa. Bernie came
So
out
we
on
know it.
top there, but it was the last round for my boy Andrew Yang.
Yeah,
He stepped out of the race. Now, I am curious to see if someone taps him as a running mate. I don't know who Bernie would go for, but Yang is not bad when it comes to being close to Democratic Socialist. That would kind of run right up the alley with Bernie Sanders. But so there's some people have questioned whether or not somebody might tap him for a running mate. But the Yang Gang, according, I looked at his Twitter feed when he was talking about, they were talking about this, that, and the other, but most of it was, hey, it was a good start. 2024 is coming.
yeah,
This was a good representation for us to get you going in 2024, which
yeah.
I thoroughly expect he will probably run for that because he did damn well. I have to say for
I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, he did extremely well, going from being someone that no one knows who he is to being on the debate stage most of the debates, not all of them, but for most of them. Even after like not being in one, then managed to get to the next one, which is crazy to be able to keep that kind of momentum going like that, especially with we're what 20 something candidates to
right.
start with, and he was in the top what 10,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
he was
Mhm.
hanging he was hanging at like anywhere from fourth to seventh at different times. So I mean, he showed the fuck up is what he did.
Yeah.
He showed
Well,
the
he
fuck
also
up.
showed that he can get people behind him, which I mean, whether is it for the oh, I want to get my $1,000 a month and that's it. That's the only reason, or if there was something else, I don't know. Um, but yeah, I mean, he did really well for being a no name beforehand.
Ed says he was the token non-white, but that's not true. They had lots of options for that.
Right. They had Warren. They
They had
had Kamala
Kamala.
Harris.
They
Yeah,
had
they had Cory Booker.
Julio.
Some other ones,
Julio.
Julian Castro.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
they had options there. Um, but here's the thing. Here was the thing that I have to say about
Henry.
Yang from the beginning to the end. pull one fucking scandal out. Pull one scandalous fucking thing that he did or that they dug up on his ass that had that even got a moment in the media. Nothing. The man, that is what I really liked about him the most, was the man had nothing that anybody was able to drag out on his ass.
Yeah.
And that's impressive when you're talking about, running a political campaign.
Well, we don't know. I mean, if he was seen as more of a threat, then maybe there would have been. But I mean, he really wasn't seen as much of a threat from others. And
Yeah,
who
it's
knows?
yeah, it's crazy. So it's Biden is the impeachment did exactly what Trump hoped it would do, and I think it has destroyed Biden's chances. I don't think he's going to be able to gain enough. He fucking dumped in Iowa. He dumped in New Hampshire. He expected to dump so bad in New Hampshire, he pieced out on the day of the fucking caucus and headed to North Carolina. He didn't even want to stay behind to see the end game there. He just pieced out and headed to North Carolina, where he would start working, targeting the black vote. That's his big thing, is trying to target the black vote.
Yeah.
And so I think Biden is pretty much going to be a goner in this. I don't know if Warren's going to pick up enough steam, because Buttigieg is really the one I think that's going to take Bernie to the mat, and it's going to come down to those two, unless something crazy happens in the next couple of 2 or 3 months as other states are running their primaries. I believe ours is next month, some point, March something. Um, but yeah, it's going to come down to between Bernie and Buttigieg, and if it does come down to that, I expect it's going to be Bernie going up against Trump, unless our
I think they're
illustrious.
going to be pushing Pete. It seems like they're pushing Mayor Pete. So,
Yeah, but you know, there's the thing. Is like they they played their hand. Like, they decided to be transparent about fucking Bernie, and it pissed a lot of people off. Like
yeah.
it's like, look, we've seen this before. Now you're just doing it openly. We see it, and even Trump's calling him out about it. And like, you're fucking Bernie. What's up with fucking Bernie over? You did it in 2016. You're fucking him again. What's up? It's like, how long can they proceed to do that? Can they continue on doing that with the open knowledge of the American public saying, dude, we see it, and it's fucked. It's just fucked up. I don't know. What do you think? Do they do it? Will they continue?
Yeah, I mean, they already are. There's actually a big movement, an anti-Bernie movement, um, where, obviously the whole Joe Rogan thing, people are pissed off about that
It was
because
stupid.
Joe Rogan bad, therefore Bernie bad for taking his endorsement. Um, I mean, I don't know, it's just like the weirdest thing. The furthest left people, mostly on Twitter, to be fair, uh, are just like almost as though Bernie is worse than Trump in their eyes. It's fucking bizarre. I don't get it.
Yes, but the thing is those are main. You've got to remember, those are mainstream people.
Yeah,
Those are the mainstream sheeple, is really what they should be called, because all of the new media and the followers of new media, like our people in the audience, and the other thing, when you see Joe Rogan say, I like Bernie in this, I couldn't be behind Bernie winning, and then Bernie accepts that endorsement. Well, here we have, like, you respect that, don't you? Do you have disrespect for that? Even though you don't necessarily want you may not want Bernie in office. You got to respect Joe Rogan's got an opinion. He's not
yeah,
stupid. He
right.
he said that because of belief, because of well thought out ideas. I mean,
Yeah,
so you've got to respect it and say, okay. And people want to holler that Joe Rogan's a bigot. Well, okay, but you're probably the same people that helped elect a racist bigot in the first place in 2016. Because if anyone wants to say that Trump isn't racist, they're fucked in the head. Because I have seen long lists of different things he said throughout his lifetime on television,
Mhm.
behind the scenes, this, that, and the other, that purely points to the fact that he's white,
So,
too white.
actually, Henry's making a good point here
Hit
that
me.
that clip was hijacked by Bernie. It was an endorsement, which is true. They fucked Joe on that one. That part I don't necessarily agree with because first of all, you can't really touch Joe Rogan. Like he's so popular, he cannot be canceled. What are they gonna do? What are they
Right.
gonna cancel him from? So, I think he's fine. His reputation is fine. But yeah, that is true about the clip where Bernie took that clip from Joe's podcast and played it during an advertisement.
And I'm, I don't, I can see the idea that it was hijacked, but it's also, you know, did Joe Rogan come out and say, did he personally come out and say, I'm not, I don't endorse Bernie Sanders? He didn't come out against it. Bernie
He
didn't come.
did. He did actually say something similar to that.
Did he really? Other than, I mean, or
It
was,
wasn't like he wasn't saying like, "Oh, fuck that, I'm not going to, I'm not going to vote for him." He was just saying like, I'm not here to be, advocating for one candidate over another.
right.
He's like, I've talked to Yang, I've talked to Tulsi, I've talked to
He just said
Bernie.
who he
I
would
like them a
probably,
lot.
he would vote
He
for.
was he was directly asked, and he, sighed and was like, "I'll probably vote for Bernie."
I mean,
You know,
I don't have a problem with a candidate taking a famous celebrity's opinion like that. If they're going to publicize it like that, I don't have a problem with them using that to their advantage. Joe
yeah,
Rogan said he would probably vote for me. Why won't you? It's
yeah.
like,
Well, that's
okay,
what his words were. I think I'm going to vote for
mhm,
Bernie. So it's not really saying like I'm feeling the burn. I'm on the burn train.
right.
Nothing like that.
But but it wasn't like Bernie doctored it or anything. If he just, I don't think he did. So if he just plays what Joe Rogan said, then it stands for what as it is, right?
Hmm.
It's just Joe Rogan's opinion.
Yeah,
But a lot of people were like, pissed because Bernie didn't shit on that and be like, oh,
yeah.
he's a white supremacist. I don't accept his endorsement. Well,
Right.
no, no.
And I do have to ask Anna Voltis this. He said Joe Rogan is kind of cringe. Not gonna lie. Why is that? What exactly is cringe? And we'll wait for him to respond there.
Now, I don't know about Anna Voltis, but I will say that if I were, I've like listening to Joe Rogan's stand up,
Hmm.
and understand. I know a lot of stand up is for comic effect, but
Yeah.
you learn underlying principles about a person because one of the things about comedy is it's a way for you to voice what you really think in a comedic
Yeah.
way, right? To get a laugh. Um, he is rather misogynistic. I mean, I get that misogynistic vibe from him somewhat. That from a if as far
And
as
in what way?
well, just that it's kind of that vibe that men are more dominant in the relationship kind of thing when it comes to men and women. Men are more dominant.
Mm,
He's that it falls in with that I don't give a fuck attitude that he fully embraces, right? I don't know. It's hard to I probably would have to really go back and look at specific things
I
that
mean, are you talking
he
about the one where
has.
he talks about how he would be able to like, beat up his wife and daughters or something like that, and the cat?
Uh,
You talking about that joke? Because I mean, there was a
oh,
lot
I'm
more to
not.
that
No, no, no,
joke
no.
than just
I'm not talking about a specific
he's
joke.
like,
I'm
yeah.
just talking about overall throughout his career. Like, okay, so I would say the same thing for Donald Trump, right? Like, if I hadn't had media exposing me to this, that, and the other, but just watching Donald Trump on The Apprentice and throughout his history and misogynistic, narcissistic piece of shit. That's always been my opinion of Trump, just because that's what you get from it. He's not. He doesn't full on. He's on The Apprentice, for instance. He wasn't full on misogynistic, or anything like that. Not like brazenly. but the vibe is there, and Joe Rogan gives that vibe. Like he's very I don't give a fuck when it comes to that kind of thing. Where he is the more dominant as a male than a woman would be in a
Yeah.
relationship, right? It's like I said, a lot of it is vibe. I'm sure I could go back and point to things from different stand-ups that he said that just kind of tune that in more. But as far as bigoted, I don't know, bigoted, racist. We're all racist. I don't give a fuck. I mean, the thing about racism is like stereotypes. Stereotypes are there for a reason, right? They didn't just pop up, right? Whether they be about white people, Asian people, African American
Yeah.
people, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. Those stereotypes are there for a reason. Over long periods of time, those have been generated, right? But
Yeah.
you know, everybody's racist because from the standpoint that if you talk about racism, you are ultimately a racist. Like if you see racism, you're a racist. It can be boiled down to that simple thing. Like if you
Yeah.
see racism, you're racist. People say, "Oh, I don't see color." No, but I bet you see racism, and when you see racism, that's when you know you're a fucking racist too. There's really not that many people that aren't racist in this country because we've been taught to be racist. It has been
So
indelibly built
it's
into our culture.
indelible in the hippocampus, right? Um, so first of all, hey Sully Blue, what's up, man? Um, welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while.
Ooh, I see Midget
Midget
B.
Beast, yeah, Midget Beast telling Anna Voltis or saying that Anna Voltis wrestles John's Jimmys. My Jimmys are fine at the moment. They're not really wrestled. It's just no. I mean, there's like this whole group of people who are like, just like, oh, Joe Rogan shit, and he's an idiot. He's a shill and all this other kind of like, shit. And it's just I don't know. That just kind of gets to me when people just kind of throw accusations out there with nothing to back them up, especially about people who I have a lot of respect for. And I'm going to go ahead and give respect to Anna Voltis. He said, no disrespect for Mr. Rogan. He just doesn't appeal to me. And that's perfectly acceptable. Absolutely. Like, you don't have to like him, but that doesn't mean that he's a bad person. And I'm not saying that you're saying that, Anna Voltis. I'm just saying that that's what a lot of people do. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this whole like anti Joe Rogan thing is.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's is I'll tell. Well, before I say what I was going to say, I'll say this about Joe Rogan. It's because Joe Rogan is so outspoken. Like he doesn't filter. Like he'll say what comes to mind. And sad to say, some of what he says that comes to mind is going to appear racist. It's going to appear
Sure.
misogynistic. It's going to appear these ways because he's not filtering, really. But something Henry asked a moment ago was whether I was a feminist or not. I have to be honest with you. I'm a very misogynistic son of a bitch. I really am. I'm old school. I do believe that, I believe in a world where, men go to work and they come home and there's a wife at home that's cooked dinner and is taken care of the kids and done all of this. That's a perfect world to me where everybody has their function and form and, that doesn't mean that's, you get to live in that world, but yeah, that's. Now I don't, I'm not big on the smacking your old lady around kind of thing unless she asks for it.
Unless she
Like
likes
if
it,
it's a
yeah.
request, I'm there for her. But
Right, because we care about consent.
right,
Consent is important.
right,
Yeah.
you know. Uh, Helton says Rogan has some interesting guests. Sometimes I don't agree with everything. I like the shows with Hancock and Carlson.
And then Silly Blues talking shit about my archery. Listen, man, I've gotten way better. All right, I'm not good yet, but I've gotten way better. You know, there's only one way to get better, and that's to keep sucking until you don't. Right, Robert? You know all about that.
Yep, yep. That's why I quit sucking because I don't suck at it anymore.
Right.
Yep. But I don't know, man. Joe Rogan is, I don't know. You look at him and it's like, he's cringeworthy, but you turn around and like the president gives at the State of the you saw the State of the Union address, did you? or did you not?
Yeah. No, I did. Yeah.
When he gave Fat Boy the medal, what was the
Yeah.
medal he gave
Rush.
him? The citizen,
Yeah, the Medal of Freedom, I think is what it is.
the citizens medal of freedom or something.
Yeah,
That
I believe that's what it
what's
was.
that fat fucker's name? I'm like blah, 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 blah.
Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh. I'm like, are you
Yeah.
really fucking kidding me right now? That because he got cancer, he gets a medal? Rush Limbaugh was cancer. I mean, come on, or is cancer, as it were. I mean, he's just I'm like, my God, the things that people get twerky about are just it's just funny. Um, but yeah, you do still suck at archery, John. It's
Hey, I'm working on it though. At least I'm doing something about it.
are you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a birthday coming up, don't you?
I do on Monday. I have a
Monday.
birthday coming up. Yes.
Now it's not this
So
weekend, but next weekend that you guys are going, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, are you gonna be able to join us?
No,
That'd be
no, no.
sweet.
Of course I'm not.
Oh, you
You know,
suck.
in my but whether physical condition, you know,
Gay.
not till I can get on that operating table.
Yeah.
Well, I could probably go bow hunting, but it's
Anna
just too much
Voltis
on
is
my feet.
asking. Anna Voltis is asking what kind of bow do I use. It's actually the one right there. It's a recurve bow. It's a fiberglass, 40-pound recurve bow.
Pussy
Works
bow.
pretty well. It's a little beginner. It's a little beginner bow, but I
It's
like it.
from the Pussy series.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
And
s-
Sully saying I don't love Rush, but just like RRC said, Rush was a conservative before it was cool. Really talked a lot of conservative points before people were really being wait, yeah, we're really
behind a right swing.
behind, not behind. That G threw me off. A right swing on pendulum. Jesus, I can't read today. Um, Speaking of RRC, I will actually be on his show on Monday immediately after our show. So that'll be cool. Two shows on my birthday. That'll be awesome.
No, Ed, you're not invisible. You're just throwing
And
all that anti-Semitic talk out there.
uh,
I don't know that Joe Rogan enables Ben Shapiro, as you said earlier, so I didn't really comment on it. I don't know that I would call him an enabler.
and Henry's asking if the bow is semi-auto. It's actually full auto. It's a full auto bow.
As fast as you can pull the trigger.
I
No. How could it? That's not no full auto. No,
know. Obviously, it's not a full auto
it has to
bow.
be
Jesus,
semi-auto.
Robert.
Oh, you had me for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute, you dumb fuck. Do you know what full auto is?
Jesus Christ, Robert. Yeah, yeah, I saw that, Ed. Yeah, because he lets Alex Jones on, therefore he is Alex Jones, and therefore even worse somehow than Alex Jones.
Yeah, it's funny. See, that's the thing, Ed. I can never tell whether or not you're explaining how someone else sees something or if that's how you see it. I can never be sure because, well, Ed, I'm just, at my age, all you kids are confusing.
And no, Henry, I'm not gonna have it registered. I like to live dangerously.
Hey, so there's really not, surprisingly enough, well, other than uh, other shit going on with our illustrious ringleader, um, there's not really been much going on but the coronavirus and people seeing how many wrong numbers they can throw on that. Like, are you confused yet? Are you confused yet? Yes, we're confused. Hey, but
Yes, very.
they did let all the people out of California quarantine the people they brought over from Wuhan. They did let all those people out and they were clean. So that's good. But there's been 500 million people dead in China or 50. One of the two, 50 people or 500 million. I'm not sure. Somewhere in that range, people have died in China. So we've almost got them conquered.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, see, Henry says coronavirus is no joke. No, it's not a joke, but it's a fucking confusion explosion, is all it is. Nobody knows dick. Nobody knows dick. The only people that really know what's up with the coronavirus have already died from it. Those are the only
Yeah.
ones that really know anything about it. Apparently. Um, yeah, that one's become very aggravating for me because of all this miscommunication or it's like, what are you going to do? How do you get the Chinese to tell you the truth? Fortunately, it hasn't really been blowing up over here. There's been a scare up in Atlanta, up in Georgia, where the first case was found. I think there was like 21 people that they had to quarantine for the possibility that they were showing signs of the coronavirus. Uh, Yeah, see, and there's another thing that is, and again, I've read some of this too, and where it's talking about being people being asymptomatic for a while, where it was like, okay, well, you need to have them quarantined for 7 days. Oh no, and they need to be quarantined for 2 weeks, and now it's gone up into the 20s, like 21, 22 days, and yeah, and now, so there's, I don't know how long its gestation is before it rears its ugly head. No one can tell you a definitive answer on this. Um, I don't know which of the conspiracies to believe, whether it's our government involved with the laboratory in China and it's, we had something to do with it, or if it was the scientists in China, though, working for different governments and do it. I don't know, John. All I know is that China's involved.
Yeah, probably Russia too, somehow.
And Batman. Batman is involved.
Batman. What about
Batman
Bat Boy?
Batman was
No?
eating some soup or something, and he gave somebody a cold, and shit went crazy from there. I don't know.
What about Bat Boy? Remember Bat Boy
No, who?
from like what was it, National Enquirer? The satire rag.
Mm.
I don't think they were
Oh,
like trying
Bat
to
Boy.
be
Yes, that was the
Yeah,
National
yeah,
Enquirer. They did Bat Boy.
yeah,
Yeah, you see that every once in a while.
yep.
And
Where
there
it's
and
like
there you go. There's a rag that Donald Trump supports.
yeah, where it's like
Like
the world's gonna
really?
end at yeah, the world's gonna end tomorrow, and then it's like, oh, we were saved at the 0 hour by Bat Boy. He was doing this stuff. There was also the one article I remember reading when I was a kid. I was probably like 12 or 13, where Bat Boy uh, like captured Osama bin Laden. Shit, like
And under Sully, we're talking about Bat Boy, not a Bat Boy. Because a Bat Boy, yes, he's the
yeah,
kid that
yeah,
gives bats to the baseball players. But
right.
Bat Boy, which
The Bat Boy,
where the emphasis should be that that's capitalized Bat Boy.
right.
He was originated a long time ago by the National Enquirer, and you see him crop up throughout the years. He'll pop his head up and grace the cover of National Enquirer.
Yeah,
He's I remember seeing Bat Boy shit when I was a kid. So they've been doing this stuff for a
for
long
a
fucking
long
time,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so John, I got to ask you a couple of post impeachment questions just to get your opinion on it. Um,
Oh no.
I do want to know what's your thoughts on the fact that originally, early before all the impeachment bullshit during the investigations and stuff, Trump said he never sent Giuliani to the Ukraine, but now on Geraldo Rivera's podcast, Donald Trump is saying it was fine. Yeah, it was fine sending him over there. He was fine. I sent him. He's a lawyer for the president. Lots of presidents have had lawyers. I didn't see there was any issue with sending him over there. How do you sit with that lie?
Well, first of all, he's a politician, so lying is kind of
Okay,
not even
don't give
second
me your
nature; it's
fucking
first nature.
don't give me your fucking sarcasm.
I'm
Yes,
not.
I know.
I'm
I
not.
was just
Like
being silly.
that's
All politicians lie. I know, but
yeah, absolutely. The only thing is he's not too great at it, so his lies come out, which makes him unintentionally more transparent than most other ones. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion because I mean when you've been lied to, your entire life and then decades before that and however long politicians have been around, You know what I mean? Just like, oh, he lied. Oh, I don't like that. It's like, well, it's kind of par for the course, isn't it?
Well, I mean, so is it? Does that mean it's okay for him to pull an OJ, and if he actually was holding up the money and everything to get them to investigate Biden, it's okay. He can just come out and say it now. Can he OJ it like that?
I mean, OJ didn't still hasn't
Yeah,
technically
no, he
said
never really
that he.
said I didn't.
Right,
He just kind of said,
right.
"Well, I did not do it."
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of
Yeah,
difference there, right?
his book was like, if I did it, here's how I did it, or something like that. Or here, yeah, if I did it, here's how it happened, or something like that. So that was pretty funny. And then his Twitter bio is actually great. His Twitter bio says, "If I didn't say it here, I didn't say it." I thought that was great. Isn't that
Um,
kind of funny how like he allegedly murdered his wife and her uh lover, I guess.
right.
And but now, like, however many years later, like, he's everyone loves him. Like, he's still a celebrity.
Um, actually, and Sully says the money got released without anything going on, anything going in motion as far as the investigation goes. I agree with that to a certain extent, but only from the standpoint that they took that hold on the money right up to the line where it was going to break the law. In fact, it did break the law a little bit because there was like 30 something thousand dollars that wasn't able to be apportioned because of the time schedule. So plus the simple fact that nobody had a fucking straight answer as to why the money was being
Yeah.
held. Um, let's see, Midges says, where is it? Oh, there it is. I'll bet that rather than literally sending Giuliani, he was probably approached by Giuliani with the idea and consented.
Yeah,
Either
that's probably
way,
fair.
either consent is,
It's different than
consent
sending
from the
him.
president is as good as telling someone to do something, in my opinion.
Uh, not legally though. So there is a legal difference
Sure, I'm sure we could try
between.
and make that legal difference.
We
Um,
could. I'll go ahead and armchair lawyer for you right now.
but
Because I know what I'm talking
but
about.
if that's the case, that speaks to the fact that Trump needs to listen to what's being asked of him, because basically Geraldo Rivera said in that question, when sending Giuliani over there the right thing to do? You know, there you go, sending him over. So the way the question was put to him put him in the position to say that he sent Giuliani over.
Yeah,
And
it was a
and
loaded
if he
question.
wasn't
Yeah.
paying, yeah, and if he wasn't paying attention to that, well, there you go. Um, but Annavolta says high-ranking politicians should be treated like they're under oath for the duration of the terms. If they fail, they may hang. I
Yeah, I
absolutely
agree with
agree
that.
with that.
Yeah,
God damn it,
yeah.
that's not. I agree with that wholeheartedly. That is some serious stuff. Yes, they should always feel like they are. That maybe that should be part of the presidential oath, is to take the same oath that you take when you go on the stand. Is that you'll speak the truth. That would fuck politics up real hard.
Oh my God, yeah, that would be awesome.
He says if he did wrong, hang him high, but they didn't have Dick. Well, if they didn't have, I don't know. Even Republicans were saying, yeah, this was wrong. We just don't think he should be taken out of office for it. I mean, lots of people on both sides are saying it was wrong. He shouldn't have done what he did. But Mitch says this is how Trump thinks and speaks. Be charitable. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit from Ron Helton. I feel like the Giuliani thing went. Do you want? Do what you want and get out of my office. And it could be
Probably.
it.
Yeah.
um,
He's like, yeah,
so
yeah, whatever.
so a lot of the talk has been that Barr is in Trump's pocket, right? He's one of Trump's little puppets in play. But this Roger
Hmm.
Stone case, um, they said that they were looking at giving him the maximum penalty of 7 to 9 years. Uh, then Trump comes out with a tweet the morning after they decide they're going to reconsider how long. Really, you just reconsidered? Nobody got on the phone with you. Nobody talked to anybody. But he comes out and says, "Oh, that's a harsh penalty. Blah blah blah. It's too much. This that, and the other." Um, Well, Barr came out this week, and he basically said, I'm going to paraphrase. Trump needs to shut up because he's making my job difficult to do. It's like,
That's funny.
and then McCabe from the FBI, who was being, who was on trial, that case got dropped today. I believe it was today. That case got dropped because of the administration and all of the muddying of the water the administration, i.e. Trump, does with Twitter and all of this shit, because he won't shut the fuck up, and he is coloring people's opinions, is ultimately what I'm gathering from it. And they're like, the administration is, this is becoming a banana republic. We can't, we've got nowhere to go forward with this case, and they drop it. So it's like suddenly this week it seems like Donald Trump's tweeting is starting to piss people off.
Because it never has before, right?
Right, but people around him, like, right,
Yeah.
even his lackeys, and they ask Barr, they're like, "Are you not worried about repercussions?" And he's like, "Well, it is what it is." But I've got a job to do, and if he's gonna, he can't do this and expect me to get my job done properly, because it creates so many voices around Barr now that are, Trump said this, blah blah blah. We can't do blah blah. I see it. I can see how that would make things a shit show. The Vindman, who Trump shot down, he took him out of position and said that the military needed to. Because Vindman testified, the military needed to pursue potential punishment against this guy because he testified, because he did what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to, testify in front of for an investigation, and that's bad. But now the military, they're like, we're not going to. They came out yesterday, today. We're not going to pursue any punishment of Vindman for doing what was expected of him, to get up and tell the truth. It's just, but I'm telling you, John, the kingdom is being laid out. It's being set. It's
Hang
all
on one second.
painted picture.
I have to acknowledge Ed's blog donated a lemon to us,
Nice.
and Ron Helton donated 2 lemons to us
That's
over on
nice.
DLive. That's awesome. You guys are cool guys. I like you guys slightly more now than I did previously. It's up to you how much you would like me to like you. So there you go.
Yeah, see, and that's and I Midget is saying that that the case was dropped because Barr and all were uncovering mistrial level impropriety. Yeah, well, I mean, it's got to tell you something. If there's enough impropriety to cause a mistrial, well, that's, all of this is rooted in the administration. All of this is rooted at the top. I firmly believe that Trump fucks with things when he's on Twitter, like things that he wants to have happen. And talking about Roger Stone, it's evidenced by this, that he is literally manipulating that case, or attempting to manipulate that case through Twitter. Now, how much credence is given to it and how much people get on board with understanding that, it's neither here nor there. But I don't know.
Look at this.
I am curious to find out just how far he's going to run with the rope now that he's out of the impeachment bullshit. I don't know. He is. He's the one. He's the master behind it all, John. I'm just going to say it. He's the one. He's the one that started the impeachment shit. He wanted it to happen. He set this up from the very beginning. He laid out fucking bait, waiting for somebody to jump on it, and they finally jumped on it with Ukraine. He orchestrated the whole goddamn thing and timed it perfectly. And it's served him well. Look at him. He's coming out with caucus numbers that are just astronomical.
Yeah.
Because now he's got this fucking full head of steam going into the camp, into the election, and he built it all with his impeachment that he knew he would never be taken down for, because he knew he had the Senate in his pocket. He had Mitch McConnell there. He had all the players in place. He knew what he needed to do, This is Trump's game all the way.
Yeah.
He doesn't care that he's got an impeachment on his
I don't know.
record.
He's gonna get it expunged. Don't worry.
He doesn't.
Also, Henry was asking about that link to your PayPal.
I sent Henry that link in Discord. I sent him
Ooh.
my PayPal address, just FYI. So
Ooh,
it's in there. Look on your personal
shiz.
messages in Discord.
Silly, you came to the right place. He said, "I just came here for a good time. It's Valentine's Day. I just wanted to get fucked good."
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, you came to the right place.
In your defense, Henry, you were not in the best place at the time I sent that. You were about 6 fingers into your bottle at that point.
Yeah, I wasn't in on that voice chat
Amisa says
conversation. I probably should have been.
this has nothing to do with Twitter, but I'm telling
It
you
probably
right now,
doesn't.
Barr came out and said him being on Twitter is making his job difficult. Now, I'm not making that up. That's what Barr said in an interview. You know, now if the interview lied about what he said, misquoted him, well, hopefully he'll get him. But he said it. He's making his job difficult to do with everything he's saying, particularly about the Roger Stone case. And Trump doesn't need to be having an opinion on that. That's what I think that is the biggest problem is when he does get on Twitter, his words carry a lot of weight, and people act on that, or think on that, or base decisions around with that as a factor because it's coming from the president. It's coming from Donald Trump. I mean, think about cronies on the inside in Washington that are kowtowing to him. When he tweets, they look, they listen, and they have to take what he's saying there into account. I don't know. I mean, for anyone to say that what he says on Twitter doesn't have an impact on anything, you're a fool. You're a fool to think that. That sounds fun. If you knew anything about the investigation, who it comprised of, and followed it for 3 years, you'd realize the setup. Are you talking about Roger Stone, or are you talking about McCabe?
Yeah, I don't know.
But even in talking about McCabe, the article I was reading earlier today, they laid a lot of the root of the dropping the case at the feet of the administration. So I'm just saying, the man has an impact in what he says and what he does, and people are fools if they don't think he does. That's one of those things. That's why a lot of people, talk about obstruction of justice. His tweets and stuff because of the things he says. He tries to color the picture. He tries to sway the opinion through his tweets. They're very contentious tweets a lot of times. You can't say that doesn't have an effect.
I don't know. I don't think
it's silly to watch you call on Jesus, midget.
it's true.
It's
Um, no, I mean I don't think Twitter has as much to do with like really anything that goes on in Washington. I mean, I really don't think any of them give a shit about like what happens on Twitter, except for like maybe the Ocasio-Cortez types. They might care, but generally speaking, no one
I
in
I
Washington
don't
cares what
hold on.
happens on Twitter.
Hold on. But that's just it. That is Trump's primary talking platform. And I honestly believe that more people in Washington are paying attention to what he does tweet because of the simple fact that he has made it such a strong part of who he is as president. It is his go-to, and he'll sit and do it for hours on end. It seems like. I can't imagine that a lot of people in Washington, as far as politicians, are staying up with it because it may be the next news bite. It may be the next sound bite. It may be about them. What am I gonna? What's he gonna say about me? I don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. But Barr insinuated that, it's part of the problem with him doing his job properly. Trump needs to keep his nose out of it for the time being, and he should. I don't think the president needs to be involved with these cases, or giving his opinion, broadcasting it out to the population, trying to sway opinion on a case that's being handled by the Department of Justice. It's not. I don't know. I think that crosses some lines, not impeachable lines. I'm just saying it crosses lines.
Yeah. So everyone who's over on DLive right now, we are at 2.5 lemons in the chest. If we get another 2.5, I can redistribute those rewards and you'll get stuff. So, up to you if you guys want to do that. So there.
Midget says, you don't know jack shit about the Mueller investigation. I do. I know that everything.
We covered it.
Yeah, I know that everything. I know that everything that Mueller said, the final analysis that Mueller gave was mischaracterized. And, I mean, there was a lot of that mischaracterized and just boiled down to simple stuff that wasn't really what he said.
Right.
I can't say there was no crime. Have to put it over to the Department of Justice for them to do something. I can't say there was or wasn't a crime, or that there was anything wrong here, there, whatever. Blah blah blah. But they knew the Russians were involved in the fucking election. No matter how many times people want to sit and say Russians didn't have anything, Russians were fucking trying to mess with the election just like we do in other people's elections. It's not like that's new. I mean, and that's the funny thing. A lot of people were saying that very early on about the Russians. Well, it's not like we don't do it, and it's not like other governments don't do it. And then a lot of those people turn around and go, "Oh, no, the Mueller investigation didn't prove the Russians had anything to do with it." And Trump went on this, "Oh, it was the Ukraine." No, it wasn't. They proved that wasn't true, but you're still on that fucking tip. It's all a bunch of fucking convoluted bullshit. When it's all said and done, the Mueller report didn't really, it wasn't shit. He just said, here's the things that we found out, and I can't say one way or the other if he did anything wrong or not. That's for the Department of Justice to decide.
Yeah, that is basically what he said.
Yeah.
And Ed's saying, I regret that I have but one lemon to give for my podcasters. I like that a lot. I like that funny. Then Henry says, Robert, I sent a little Valentine's gift to your PayPal. Thank you for the content for reals. See, that's sweet. That's wholesome.
See, I like that. That's a nice.
That's really nice. That is really super nice and wholesome.
You
and
literally, right? And literally, I know everything I need to know about it, and I know that the Steele documents, and I know the Democrats were involved with all of the setup and the bullshit, and I know that there were assigned fucking warrants because of bad FBI mojo. And I know the FBI is being looked into, and they're setting new parameters on that because of their fuck up with the original fucking subpoenas, wiretaps that they were getting involved with that. And I know, yes, a lot of it was bullshit, and I know that a lot of it was orchestrated by Democrats, and I know that. But I also know what Mueller said at the fucking end, and people took that and spun it in their own ways. Everybody put a fucking spin on it. But I know what Mueller said, and that's really all that fucking matters, is what Mueller said in the investigation after the investigation was over. That's really all that matters. Now, what they find out about, what was going on, and if they want to pursue criminal activity by other people, then by all means, do so. Does the FBI need a revamp? Probably, because it looks like they were getting warrants for crazy shit. Probably the Democrats were letting them have them, too. The Democrats were like, hey, give them these warrants. I don't know how much pull the Democrats have with getting warrants for the FBI, but I mean, Mueller, Henry says Mueller is a hero. Don't attack it. Are you talking about Lisa Page, the FBI agent that was talking about how they wanted to fucking screw Trump over with her other buddy that she was... I think she was sleeping with him, wasn't she? Her boyfriend, and they were both FBI. She was sleeping with him, and they were going back and forth if they were going to manage to get Trump fucked. I mean, what do you want? What you want? You want a bunch of fucking details about something? It's, there were bullshit people on both sides in the back end of that whole scandal going on. And here's one simple thing. All Trump did the whole time was say there was no collusion with Russia. But guess what? Mueller wasn't investigating collusion. He wasn't talking about collusion. He was talking
Yeah.
about coordination with the Russians. That's what they were looking into, is if there was any coordination. Not, and there's a difference between coordinating efforts with the Russians and colluding with the Russians, right?
You know what really sucks about you and Midget B going back and forth right now?
Hmm.
Is I'm gonna have to hear this argument rehashed all over again tomorrow when
Yeah,
Midget comes
yeah.
down.
No,
God damn it.
he's, the bottom line is there were, you don't have to know every intimate detail of the case to know that it was fucked up from the beginning, that what they were looking into, it was iffy. It was about as iffy as the impeachment case, you know, by what they were going on. It was shit that Trump laid out there, little bits and pieces, and they jumped on it and they investigated it. You know, I mean, fuck. It is what it is. The Democrats trying to draw Trump out and fuck with him through the Steele dossier and all of this incriminating whatever. Mueller found out what it was. He told everybody, and everybody was like, "Oh, okay, so nobody did anything wrong. Everything's fine." That's what we got to. So the Mueller investigation is pretty much unfucking important anymore. It really is. It's about as unimportant
Yeah.
as the impeachment investigation is. None of that shit matters now, because it all came out, Trump smelling like roses, and it doesn't fucking matter. So the bottom, what do you want? What do you want to have happen? What can possibly happen now? The man can stand up to anything, and he's not going to get taken out of the picture. He is your new emperor. He will win 2020. He
Yeah.
will stall out the next election because he's going to create a scenario where we have widespread voter fraud, even though he won again, enough to where it is going to have to stop in the next election until a new election process can be sorted out and put together, and he will remain in office until said election is able to go off. That's just my theory, but I'm
I don't
standing
think
by
that's
it.
gonna happen.
It's thoroughly within the realm of possibility, John.
Well, yeah, I mean, almost anything is.
For
So.
for the 4D chess player that people accuse him of being, this is thoroughly, easily within the realm of that possibility. Again, who talks about a bogus election when you've already won it? Why are you bitching that the election was fixed when you won? I mean, why? Do you want us to go back and recount, sir, just in case you didn't win? Yeah, but I love it. Midget says half the people involved in the Russian investigation are going to jail, but so are half the people that have been involved with Trump. Campaign managers, lawyers, fucking people all around him are going to jail. People in his organizations. He's not, because he keeps himself distanced from the fuckery that they do, yet he can't not know the fuckery they do. You can't be that great of a businessman and not know the fuckery that the people under you are doing. You may be able to distance yourself and have deniability, but you know what the fuck is going on. And when people around him are going to fucking jail, you can't tell me that there's not something up with Daddy Trump.
Oh man.
He's not Putin's. I don't believe he's Putin's puppet. I think those motherfuckers are
I don't
bedmates.
think he was.
I think they're
I don't think he
bedmates.
was saying that you were saying. I don't think
No,
he
no,
was
no.
saying.
He
that.
says
No.
it doesn't make him a good president, but it doesn't make him Putin's puppet
Right.
either. No, I don't think he's Putin's puppet, but I think those boys are bedfellows. Politics makes strange bedfellows. Well, there's two of them right there. I think he likes leaders like Putin, Xi Jinping. He likes leaders like Kim Jong-un. He likes those leaders because they are in complete control. Complete control. And he has even said, oh, that Xi Jinping made himself president for life. Be awesome if I could do something like that. These kind of things that he drops out there, it tells you that's the person he is. That's why he gets along with those people. That's why. And, that's a little scary to me. It's just a little scary sometimes. Now, I'm not saying Orange man bad. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the man is setting himself up for a perfect long-term scenario. He's got the capability to do it. He's got all the tools he needs, and he is building a follower base. He's building it so strong. I mean, Jesus Christ, 97% in the Iowa caucus. 97%. Now, granted, he's the incumbent, but there were actually Republicans there, and I didn't see Republicans that don't want Donald Trump elected in those numbers. You know what I mean? It's not like it's the Republican voters are out there going, "Oh yeah, we need to get him out too." No, I don't see it.
No.
He knows. I love to think that the federal death penalty was restored in preparation for the Durham investigation. The federal death penalty, that was something else he said. He was talking about drug dealers. Did I mention this? Talking about drugs in China, like how China handles their drug dealers. They just fucking kill them. They just execute drug dealers. So they have a very very low drug crime issue over there, and Trump applauded that.
They did the same thing in Singapore. You get the death penalty for smuggling drugs into the country.
Yeah, see, Sully says they need to bring it back for those bastards who do anything against the best interests of the USA, i.e., treason. And I honestly, I would hazard to say that I think we need to look at the broader definition of treason and really look at a lot of our politicians in office and
Yeah, we'd
ask
get rid of
ourselves,
most of them.
right,
If not
ask
all, we'd get
ourselves,
rid of most of them.
do we not have a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats that are doing very treasonous things? Take the DNC, for instance. You are manipulating your own election. Your own election. Openly.
Yeah.
Two elections in a row.
But there's
And-
no accountability for them.
Right. Again, maybe we need to relook at what counts as treasonous acts against the country.
Hey, silly blue, hang on. He said, yeah, drug dealers, how many lives are on their hands? Fuck them, bring back harsh penalties for things that we want to cut back. Hey, I just want to say, I know someone, he helps me out, and he's a good guy. Doesn't deserve death penalty.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna
I have to say,
say.
I mean, it's there's a very fine line there, as to because you can look at somewhere like Amsterdam where certain a lot of what we have as class 1 drugs are legal, where they try and take a more humane approach to it, and have needle houses in places and this, that, and the other to keep it clean, and try and contain the issue as opposed to letting it just get out of hand by non-control.
Yeah.
Right?
And not only that, but on a serious note, just cracking down on things like that, I don't know, it just makes it more dangerous because people are going to do it no matter what. That's the thing, right? People are going to, take drugs, and since people are going to take drugs, people are going to supply those drugs. I mean, it's just simple, economics.
Sure.
If there's a demand for it, someone's going to fill it.
Right.
So cracking down on that, all that does is raise the price. When the price is raised and people can't afford it, especially if people are addicted,
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to start committing all other crimes in order to get money to feed the addiction. So, I don't know, it leads to more and more crime, which leads to more and more crackdown, which leads to more and more restriction of freedom. I get the sentiment behind what you're saying there, Sully, but it only leads to more problems. We saw that during the 90s for the crack epidemic, the 80s and 90s, for that. All cracking down on it does is just raise the prices and creates more crime, and it helps organized crime. Organized crime loves when things have harsher penalties because they make more money.
I have to say, in my opinion, the worst drug dealers in this country are fucking psychiatrists.
Yeah, 100%. They don't give a fuck. They'll just write you a prescription on the spot.
I was under a psychiatrist's care for 3 years, and I would go in and pay for an hour against my insurance. I would pay for an hour session. I would be in there for 15 minutes, long enough for her to write 4 fucking prescriptions for me.
Yeah.
One of which rotated on an every 3-month basis or so, because that's when new stuff would be coming in from her drug vendors, from her pharma vendors. And she would be, there's one of the 4 she would swap out on a regular basis. 3 were
Mm-hmm.
primary that I was constantly taking, but a 4th one she would just rotate it out with some new fancy one that the drug vendors had pushed on her, so that she could help them. You know, because they get fucking kicks. They get kickbacks from that shit, which I think is egregious in my opinion. But those are the worst drug dealers. Those are worse than any
Yeah.
fucking pot dealer. Most drug dealers I've dealt with have more morals than that. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, it's true. It's true. They
I've
do,
actually
yeah.
had drug dealers tell me, "No, I'm not going to sell you this. You don't need this. You don't want to do this. This is going to be okay. All right, okay." I just have this shit for the people that like have already been doing it and stuff. You don't want to get started on this. Don't.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Is that a drug dealer with a conscience? What the fuck was that?
Yeah. And
uh,
most of them do it like as a side, to get extra money because their main job, doesn't pay enough. So there's people like that too who aren't, they're not walking, hundreds of pounds across, the Mexican border or something. They're just normal people trying to make a few extra bucks.
right.
Yeah.
Well, Sully is, he's saying, they're talking about he's talking about the system, allow many parties in and no parties at all. This 2-party system is a fucking bag of shit set on fire.
Yeah.
Henry says crony capitalism is garbage. We need true free markets. It says warmongering needs to stop, which I agree with. I think these fucking wars are fucking stupid. Syria, again, is going to be the new Afghanistan, by the way. I noticed somebody said something about the Afghanistan papers, but it sparked that in my head. Just waiting to see how that's going to blow up into the next Afghanistan. Henry says his job is relying on war, better to either be jobless than keep them going, which, is a commendable thing to say. I gotta give props for that. Sully says he agrees with me that people writing prescriptions are the biggest threat to dependency, and they absolutely are. If it weren't for they streamline things at the FDA now to where drugs come out very quickly, right? It's plenty of time under FDA scrutiny has been replaced with transparent commercials that tell you all the things that this drug may or may not do to you.
Yeah.
You know, fatal. When they use the word fatal, though, I start going, "What did you just say? Fatal? Fatal?
Yeah.
But my erection's gonna work till I
And
die."
so speaking of erection, Henry said, "I got Cialis, and it's a funny story. I would like to hear that story if you're willing to tell it."
I didn't know Cialis was contagious.
Ha ha.
Drugs are a joke. My dealer is a nice person. Have you guys seen what's going on in Syria lately? As I said, yes. Just another alphabet boy telling us what to do.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do. Yeah, yeah. I actually, I'm not gonna lie. I had a free offer to get a sample. I was like, I'm really curious if these things actually make a difference, and I ordered some, but I haven't used. I've not gotten around to using them. I'm like, well, whenever I need to, I don't need them, right? When I'm going to, I don't need them. So, and I sure as hell don't need it for 4 hours. Maybe an hour, but those other 3 hours, I don't just want to walk around with that thing banging into stuff.
Just turn around and smack it on the wall or something. Ah, yeah, that would suck.
Ron says, I installed an app that lets you have more than 20 stickers in DLive. It worked for one day and then quit. That's because probably because they expected some payment. Yeah, they wanted your money. It says, of course
Yeah.
not. Syria doesn't condemn the president right now. No, it's not. It's not Syria that's the issue. It's the Russians in Syria that's the problem, because those are the ones that we're still having sketchy issues with, because they don't support the same side that we do. Technically, it's weird that whole situation. Who's on what side? Oh, I support Assad. We support Assad, but we want to help with ISIS. Oh, we don't support Assad, but we want to help with ISIS. It's like tension much. Uh, Henry says they started off as a legit thing, but they're garbage now. They just
The
make sure we don't
FDA.
get too much puss in our milk and keep you from smoking weed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such bullshit.
Don't get too
Smoke weed
much.
every day, guys. It's fun.
No, it's Turkey. That's the big target. Read the Afghanistan papers. Turkey. Well, yes, Turkey is, and you know what? That's the sad thing because Turkey's been an ally for quite some time, and we're fucking with that now too. I don't want to. We bring our boys home. Bring everybody home. Let's. I tell you what. Let's just bring everybody home, and then start over, and only send them to places where somebody needs help with non-war shit. Hey, can you come over and help us? Train these people. Great, we could do that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the I don't know. I read an article that the European, a lot of European countries are no longer buying into Donald Trump's shtick. It's like they're not going to buy into his bullshit anymore. All right, whatever. You're going to buy into his bullshit. Everybody else is. If America's going to buy into his bullshit, everybody's going to buy into his bullshit. I mean, it's just the way it goes, right? What America does, the world does. Uh, yes, all the while we support ISIS and undermine Assad. Yes, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. We sit and we play both ends against the middle. I mean,
So let me play devil's advocate real quick with Henry, because he's saying these countries are no threat to us. And while I agree, and I'm on your side with this, but consider the alternative. The reason why those countries are no threat to us is because we have a massive military. If we didn't have a massive military, they very well could be. So that would be the argument, obviously, against, you know, uh, uh, you know, downsizing the military. So what would you have to say to that? I wonder.
well, now I'll ask you while you're waiting for that, to get leave these countries. Would it require downsizing the military? Like we could not support our military in country if we brought everybody home. Is that correct? Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, because they would just be sitting around twiddling their thumbs. There wouldn't be too much for them to do. We have military here, obviously, in our bases, and then we have bases throughout the entire world. Not even in like war,
Right.
countries.
Within ally
Not even
countries.
right. We have bases in allied countries as well.
But why do they have us there?
Well, that had to do with World War II.
Right, but ultimately they have us there to protect their ass. Anybody that's
Yeah.
an ally and has an American base there, if, they may not be in any conflict, but we're there to help, to back their ass up, right? And
Mhm.
that's the thing. That's the whole world police mindset that we're out there to help police what's going on in other countries and keep their enemies at bay. You know what? We can travel pretty fast. We can do that from here. You know, but yeah, if we
Yeah.
had to decrease the size of the military, it would mean that Donald Trump would have to figure out something else to spend 2 point something trillion dollars on, which I'm sure he could find it. There's got to be a wall somewhere. He'd build the wall with Canada. Go ahead and get that underway. That's what he could do with it, right?
Maybe they should just build a wall up there along the border.
Let's just drop a $200,000 bomb on a dude on
I love that.
Ed's,
I bet you it's been done too.
uh, Ed
Oh,
says,
yeah, I know how much money you guys spend. Remember we had what was it, your stepson on the show? Remember it?
oh, yeah, yeah,
Who
yeah,
that is?
yeah,
Yeah, he was talking about like a ladder that was like 70 or 80 bucks was like 700,
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that. Like that
and
was just for a ladder, and like everything else, yeah,
it
because
was.
of the contracts that they signed,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they agree to pay that much, and they can because they're the military. They have the budget. Yeah, and I mean I get it. And like I said, I agree with you. I just wanted to get your opinion on the reasoning.
Um, and Ed says no country is a threat to the U.S. We have a Second Amendment. We're just playing the world's babysitter. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh,
Well, we have a Second Amendment for now. We'll see how long that sticks around. And then what? You know.
Henry says I even went to the IG. What's the IG on our spending? It was clear fraud, waste, and abuse. I got reprimanded for it. Was that? Is he talking about Instagram?
IG. I hope not.
But yeah, I wish you guys saw our budget, and it only gets bigger every year. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't
it's
know what the IG is. Something general, I imagine. International general? I don't know.
oh, Inspector General.
Inspector General? Maybe. Could be that. I don't know. He'll tell us in a minute.
But yeah, it's entirely too much money spent to fund military. Yeah, the Inspector General.
Inspector General. Yeah.
Entirely too much money. Oh, that's Ed saying that, but so it
Well,
might
then
be
he
the.
answered immediately after
Oh, I got
Henry
you.
did.
In the 80s, we spent 4K on an inert tow missile concrete.
Or Inspector Gadget, whichever you prefer. I like Inspector Gadget better.
Inspector Gadget. That's just fucked up. I miss that guy.
I used
The
to be able to play that
old,
on
the
piano.
old,
It's like the only thing I could do was
the
play
old,
that.
the old Inspector Gadget, the original, not any of the derivative Inspector Gadgets that came after.
What was the original one? Was it that cartoon or was it before
It
the
was a, it was
cartoon?
no, it was a cartoon. It was
Okay, so I
just
do remember it then. Yeah,
well, I'm talking about the one that I used to watch as a kid, Saturday morning Inspector Gadget. I don't know if it was the same one because
I
they
don't know
revamped
either.
him. They revamped him and made him more cartoony later
Okay,
on, and it was
I don't
after
know.
sometime after the movie with
Oh, this was
Matthew
before the
Broderick.
movie. Yeah, this was
Or
before the
maybe it was
movie.
before. I have to see the ones that you watched to see if they were the same
Yeah,
ones. You may have been watching rehash of the old episodes.
could be. I don't know. I'm not as
Uh,
old as you, you
Ed says
know.
he thinks it was a comic book before a cartoon, and that's
Probably.
entirely possible.
Yeah,
I can't
probably.
remember for sure. But yeah, it's I don't know, John. I don't know. I, I I I think the military spending is. I don't know. Is it just to drive the stock market? Do we stay? Are we doing all of this just to keep the stock market moving? And I don't know.
Well, yeah. So again, war is very profitable.
Yeah, it is.
When the state is in a perpetual state of war, then it's getting profit. Uh, I mean, it's not only that, but so it is a way of stopping people from invading us. Not that anyone really would really have a chance, but if we have our fingers in all the pies around the world, then that does kind of keep all the bullshit over there and not as much over here. And again, I'm not like advocating for us being there. I'm just saying that these are the reasons, why it's a good idea, especially when you're an empire, which we
Uh,
are.
So Ron Helton says we expended. He's talking about the tow missiles, but I find new things out about Ron Helton. It's interesting to me because he lives in Oklahoma, not too terribly far from where I grew up. So we were having a conversation the other day about that on Ed's Discord. But apparently, Ron, you were in the 82nd Airborne. My brother was he 82nd or 101st? Which are, I know this might be a silly question, or I should know the answer I'm going to get. I know that there's 82nd Airborne and there's 101st Airborne, and one is the more badass than the other. I'm trying to remember which is which. I think it's the 82nd because I'm pretty sure
I
my
think the
brother
82nd.
was in the 82nd Airborne. He's been out of the military for so long because he'd had a bad jump. And he's got epilepsy now because his reserve chute, he had to rely on that, but it didn't. It was having some malfunction and didn't pull till after the safe ceiling for the chute, and so it never fully expanded. So he wound up taking a pretty hard hit on the ground,
Ooh, yeah.
and he was taken out of the military for that. But he's still to this day he has epileptic seizures. It's cropped up.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah,
Fuck.
it's
Yeah.
but that's it's just a headache, you know. I mean, it's just a headache according to Trump, things like that,
Again.
right? Well, you don't want head trauma to be turned into some.
Yeah.
It's just some head trauma. It's nothing. I have worse after a hangover. Uh, uh, Helen says, no, the 82nd Airborne was our sister battalion. We were activated at the same time during the first Gulf War. They went first, and it was over. Wait, what battalion were you? Were you airborne as well, or were you a ground
I
troop?
I thought he had said airborne. Yeah, he did say 82nd Airborne. Oh, he was with them, but he wasn't part of them, I suppose.
Well, he says 82nd was their sister battalion, meaning
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but the original one was during one training exercise with the 82nd Airborne, so that suggests that he might not have been part of them, but gotcha. Okay. I think
Well, I
we're
wish
all.
we, Henry. I really wish we knew about some of the contracts going on around the world, so we knew it was happening. But here's what I do know, and I say no from a purely speculative standpoint. What I know is that most of the wars being fought, most of the conflicts that are going on in the world, are probably using American-made weapons.
Either American or Soviet made,
Right, one of the
usually.
two, but more than
Yeah.
likely, if they could afford them and get their hands on them, it's American. I mean, we. That's the thing, when you talk about somebody like Syria and are we funding ISIS? Well, we sell everybody weapons. We don't give a fuck. If somebody offers us money, we'll sell them some weapons, whether they're on the good side or the bad side. There's some janked up fucking deals going on all over the world. I'm like, what the fuck? What's wrong with us? We're like a drug dealer just with weapons. Um, Helton says, I had the best trained platoon out of both battalions. Our platoon received an award. We were ground based, 280th TOW Battalion.
I think that's first company, if I'm not mistaken.
280th. One, one,
280th.
two, 280th.
Oh, 280th. So is that second company? Second. I don't know.
It might be.
I
I'm
forget
not.
how to read this crap. I haven't
Yeah.
been. When I was in military school. I didn't actually join the military, but when I was there, it was battalion, then your company, then your platoon, then your squad, and then of course your fire team underneath that. But we didn't really have that because we were kids. We weren't really doing anything like that. But yeah, so right under battalion is your company. So that's like first company, second company. I think if I'm reading that right, let me know, Ron.
Henry says it's not even that. It makes our allies and other countries' allies look like a circus. Enemy lines dissolve when you know what's going on. Well, yeah, I could see that. It's yeah, it's because we need to get the fuck out. We need to leave. Stop. Let's just be America for a while. Can we just be America for a while? Like I don't know.
Oh, he was second battalion. Gotcha. Okay,
There was one, two. Ours was the second battalion, right? Okay.
gotcha.
Um,
Understood.
yeah. See, I can never see with my brother. I can never remember if he was 82nd or 101st Airborne. Maybe Ron, maybe you know enough historical information. Who were the first jumpers into Grenada? Was it the 82nd or the 101st? Whoever that was, that's who my brother was with because he jumped into Grenada in the very beginning. He was one of the first troops into Grenada. Um, which he said was a very sketchy jump, to be honest. He was like, that was some scary shit jumping in there in the middle of the fucking night and going into. I'm like, man, I can imagine.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, so first is the first battalion, second is the second battalion. Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
But yeah,
Like 600 to 1,000 men, depending on what equipment is organic.
uh, who were the first ones to go in, if you can remember. That's the key thing. The key I'm trying to remember is if 82nd or 101st went in first. That is how I try and remember. I have to look it up, and I don't feel like messing around with it right now. But that's how I always remember whoever the first ones to hit the ground in Grenada were from the air. Um, but
Wasn't
yeah,
that like 12 hours or something like that, Grenada? I know it was like some absurdly short amount of time.
yeah, there were well the initial the ruckus went off pretty quickly, and then things ended very quickly. But yeah, But that's the past. You want me to remember shit from the past? What the hell? I'm doing good to hold on to my short-term memory, much less my long-term. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ! Don't ask me what I had for breakfast. You know, I stopped eating breakfast just so I didn't have to tell people what I had for breakfast, so I don't have to fucking remember. I
How many
mean,
people are even asking you what you had for breakfast?
well, you know, they say stupid things. Do you remember what you had for breakfast? No, no.
Which,
Now I can just say, oh, I don't
speaking of
eat
that,
breakfast. You know.
that is weird though. That there is somebody at my work who'll just like this dude's a little weird. Like he's one of those guys who just kind of speaks in cliches, you know. Like as you pass by, he'll be like, "Oh, working hard or hardly working," or like, another day, another dollar, that kind of shit. It's really obnoxious. But no, then he'll be like, "Oh, what are you having for dinner tonight?" It's like, why? Do you want to come over? Like, what? Like, why are you asking me that? I don't know. I just think it's weird that you would just ask someone at random as you're walking by. It's like, "Hey, what are you having for dinner tonight?"
So Ed asked, "What did you have for breakfast?" Well, I will say this: are we counting breakfast as the first thing I eat in the day?
Well, you are breaking your fast, so
Right. So if that's the case, then I would say my breakfast today, which happened probably somewhere around 1 or 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock this afternoon, was some ruffled potato chips. Not ruffles, ridged, just some potato chips. That would be the first thing I ate today, I believe. Um, I don't eat a lot of food. I usually eat an average of 1 to 2 meals a day at best, and then grazing throughout the day. That's how I keep this lean, trim figure of mine. Grazing is
yeah.
important. That's how you keep weight off. Is you graze throughout the day. Small little snacks, various times throughout the day, be- kicks your metabolism, and you're good. You know that keeps it moving. Now some people just decry that, but I'm like, no, it beats the hell out of all your Atkins bullshit and all your keto stuff and all of these things where it's like sacrifice this and do without that and blah blah. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Eat little meals all day long and have a healthy sex life. That keeps the weight off. I mean, if you want proof, John, stand up.
No.
Proof that if you don't do that, you're going to get a little chunky. Right, monkey? Right, monkey? The 82nd Airborne was first. The 101st was on standby. I can't find anything that shows that they were even used now. So he was 82nd Airborne then, because he was boots on the ground in Grenada, one of the first planes going in. Um, Man, my brother was a badass. I have to say, he was a badass. He was a brainwashed, crazy motherfucker, but he was a badass when he was in the military.
And it's true, Ed. I am a little thick.
You need one
Two
more
C's.
C on there.
No, I'm not that big. Jesus.
John, you can't see your ass.
Yeah, I can.
Not the same. Not from the same angle the rest of us do.
I don't know why you're staring at my ass. My
Not
ass isn't even
staring.
that fat.
I'm not
My ass isn't
staring.
even fat. It's
It's
my I have a gut and I have tits, and that's about it.
it's
It's all
it's
just beer weight.
it's not looking at it's staring at your ass. It's just wondering each time, is he going to fit through that doorway? Okay, he made it.
Oh my god.
I'm just, I'm watching to see when you have to start turning sideways. That's what it is.
It's not that bad. I promise. I just got a beer gut. That's all.
You're too chunky for my taste.
Well, good. I'm not trying to appeal to you.
Well, that's good because the tiny penis would have been a deal breaker. I know you don't like it. I know you don't like a tiny penis, so.
Yeah, that's true. Henry says, "Hey guys, I gotta go. Much love. Think of me when you're making love tonight. You got it. See
Hey
you
Henry,
later, man."
thanks for stopping by. We appreciate all the love. All the love. All of it. I like all the love you give. The deep, deep pounding fucking love you
He did
give.
just give you $100, so I mean,
How do you know?
well, because he
Do
said
you
he
have
did.
access? No, he just said he
He did.
sent
He did
something.
say
He
he
didn't
did.
say what he sent.
He
He
did.
just. Do you have access to my PayPal account?
No,
Then
I'm
how
just
do,
taking his word for it.
well, he
Seems
didn't
like an
quote. He
honorable
didn't
man.
quote a number. I'm just saying. I mean, ooh, but I do have an email that says, "Oh shit, yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, John." Once
Oh
again, thank
shit.
you, Henry. Yeah, you just helped the motherfucker out, is what you did. Thank you.
Oh
Yes.
shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll be shopping come Sunday. I'm gonna start doing some shopping.
Badass, dude.
Yeah, we will. We may have ourselves a little bit more oomph on the video game. The
Hell yeah, on a
video
video game.
game, not a video
Wow, I
game.
see what
The
you're getting
video.
that computer for.
No, the
All right.
see, because I've said it on air plenty of times. It's the video that causes the issue. The video
The
card on
video
this, or
card.
this, the
Yeah.
video output on this, because it's a onboard video. So the 80-second. Ed says, "What would we have to compare to? He's Irish."
I don't know
uh,
what that means.
you
Do
know
the
what it
Irish people
means.
have?
You
I
know
don't
what it
know. Are they
means.
fat?
You know what
Not
it means.
generally.
Helton says the 82nd was actually
Oh.
deployed on day 2 after airstrikes the first day. SEALs were sent in on day 1 to retrieve the governor. Oh yes, now but the SEALs were sent in ground, weren't they? That's what I guess. I don't think the SEALs were sent in by air, were they? I thought they went in by ground, boat, ground. Um, that's that's why I'm looking at the air troops that were the actual combat troops, because I don't think the SEALs were sent in as combat, if I'm not mistaken. They, like you said, they went in to retrieve people, like get those fuckers out before the shit hit the fan. Um,
Mm.
but no, yeah, we need to stop spending as much money on the military. We need to get back everybody back home. We need to stop immigration, and then we need to figure out how we don't have an Emperor Trump in the next 4 years. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. I just, not that I don't like him. I'm just not in love with him. I want a president I can be in love with. Isn't that what you want, John?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have
Sure.
a question. I want to hear some speculation from you, John, or
Oh
some
god.
some prophesizing. The Democrats have really fucked themselves this time around over the last 3+ years, right? After
Mm-hmm.
2016 and now going into 2020. Is it possible that there could be a dismantling of the Democratic Party with a replacement by libertarians?
No, I don't think that's gonna happen.
You don't think it's
I
possible?
think no, I don't think that
I'm
would be the case. No. I think if anything, if the Democrats do like since they do have this schism, the civil war that they're having right now, I think if anything, they're going to split into two separate parties. Kind of like the Whigs did back in the day. They went, Whigs and Republican, and then now the Republicans are the only ones around. And I think that it's going to be something similar to that. It's going to be the Democrats and the progressives, and the progressives are probably going to fade away at that point, and the Democrats are going to keep going. They're just going to shed the dead weight that is progressivism, because there's too few people who are dedicated enough to it to keep it going, especially if Trump, especially after Trump's second term, assuming that, if we can just assume that the process is going to be respected and Trump has both terms and he leaves, if a Democrat gets elected after that, there's not going to be nearly as much of this screeching. It's not going to be paid attention to as much. And so the progressives are just kind of going to get, shoved off to the side until they're needed again. That's if the Democrats don't split, but they do. They shed themselves of that progressive side, and they can be a contender again.
Well,
But
how about let me spin the question a little differently then. Is right now, with the Democrats having put themselves in the position that they have, creating the persona that they have, is this not the best time for the libertarians to come together and make a concerted effort to have a larger position in Washington, to have a louder voice, to make a stand, as it were? Is this not the time for them to make that push when they have a party that they can usurp
mhm.
through logical thinking, through down to earth, basic libertarianism, is this not the time?
I mean, it would be, but the problem with libertarians in general is that libertarians are going to uh, basically sabotage them. Because libertarians don't like libertarians.
Wait,
That's
libertarians
the
are going
big
to sabotage themselves
yeah,
or each
their own
other? You
party,
mean?
their own party. Yeah,
Well, and
100%.
that goes to, is there not a way for libertarians to come together? Is there? I mean, I guess that's what I you talk about this a lot, and that's what confuses me. Is that
Hmm.
if there's this broad spectrum of libertarians, is there nothing that truly coalesces them as a unified party?
Um,
is that what's really fucking them?
a common enemy is something that would unify them at least a little bit. But there's still so many people who say like, "Oh, I would never vote for a libertarian candidate because they're not libertarian enough for them."
Well, I would posit that they have two common enemies. I mean, you have the
Yeah.
Democrats. The Democratic Party as a whole is making an enemy of itself, even to the American public. And then you have Trump, who is not the kind of is not
He's not a
libertarian leaning
libertarian.
enough to just go, oh,
He's
Trump's
not at
fine,
all.
right? So you have an
Yeah.
enemy on both sides. You have something to
Yeah.
fight against, to come together and fight against.
Yeah.
I can't understand how they can even talk about themselves as any kind of party when they're not a party. They're just a bunch of little fucking
Well, the thing is,
get-togethers.
the party,
Around.
the party is willing to compromise. The party is willing to, unite, put their slight differences aside, and unite as a party. But it's the people who would be voting libertarian who would not do that. There's so many people who would say, and myself included, that I'll never join the National Libertarian Party because of X, Y, and Z. I disagree with this one platform. I disagree with this other one, this policy, that policy, whatever. And that's what keeps them down.
Well, here's a two-part question for you. Would you would you probably agree that much of America has no idea what libertarianism is, and
Yeah.
B, many of those same people don't realize that they're probably a libertarian. They're just so in set on two parties that they can't grasp that third line that they actually
Yeah.
would be behind, right?
Yeah. So with the first one, I mean, yeah. And with the second question, yeah, it was one of the biggest things that, like, if a libertarian's trying to, for lack of a better word, convert someone, the first thing they'll do is say, "You're actually a libertarian. You just don't know it yet," and then walk them down the path of basically reason it out with them, saying like, "Look, don't you agree with this? Okay, well, that's a libertarian thing. Don't you agree with this? Don't you think that this would be a better way of doing it rather than this other thing?" And it's kind of it's a process, obviously, but yeah, I don't think. I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of libertarian you're talking about. But most people are generally live and let live, which is one of the core principles of
Sure.
libertarianism. But it's not by any means, like, I guess, representative of libertarians. It's just
Nothing
like,
that unifies.
right, exactly, because most people agree with that.
Right.
I mean, they might have contradictory opinions on how to do that, or they might advocate for things that don't do that, or it's I want to leave people alone except for these people over here, whatever they may be. you know. So I don't know. I don't have any real hope for libertarians in the near future, at least.
Would you think that maybe over the next, as we've to qualify this question, as we've watched the SJWs, as we've watched the far left really, you know scream this vote, from this vocal minority, and causing all these ripples into Washington because they do. When we talk about racism and socialism and programs and more legislation and governing speech and all of these things. Um, are we set up for a new political party to emerge in the next decade, within the next decade or so?
A
Some very
progressive party, a progressive
well.
party,
Would you?
perhaps.
Would you?
That's what I'm thinking.
But do you agree? Wouldn't you agree that these are beyond progressive? I mean, I mean, I I don't know. I understand progressives, but I think this this old uber PC culture mindset, where we want to govern speech, where we want to, criminalize speech, that kind of mindset,
Yeah.
that goes far beyond progressive, in my
No, that
opinion.
is progressive.
Is that all? I mean,
That is
that
progressivism. Yeah, that's
I
part
mean,
of like if you read like intersectional feminist like literature, which I don't recommend because it's fucking awful. Um, but that's the kind of thing that they do. They kind of skirt around it. They don't talk about wanting it, but it's all about control. It's all about wanting control over every aspect of people's lives. It's absolutely terrifying.
well, see,
It really is because the thing is they don't admit it. They actually say this will give you more freedom
right,
because you don't have to worry about people, uh,
saying mean things
offending
to you.
you or yeah, exactly, and these kind of so therefore you have more freedom, and it's just it, dude. I'm telling you, it's some really wacky shit, and it's absolutely terrifying. And I mean, it's why they can't ever be in control because they will be. They
Well,
will take all of the control.
see, and that's not what a progressive used to be. Democrats used to be considered the progressive party, right? Like they were
Yeah,
progressive because they were liberal and they were seen. So progressive now obviously has just taken on a whole new
yeah.
world.
Well, the
But
thing is, yeah, I mean, with progressive though, it's oh man, I forgot where I was going with this now. 'Cause you had just mentioned the Democrats being progressive. Oh, liberals. Yes, progressives are not liberals, despite what the media will tell you, including the right wing media here on YouTube and elsewhere. People are always like, "Oh, the liberals do this, the liberals want that." They're not talking about liberals. That's a completely different philosophy.
right,
But so I mean, conflating the two, I don't think helps.
right.
But because yeah, progressives are not liberals at all.
Because that used to be how you described the Democratic Party back in the day, a long
Right.
time ago. They were the progressive. They were liberal. They were a liberal progressive party.
Yeah.
That's how they were seen. But now progressive, of course, has taken on a whole new meaning. Liberal has just been broadened out to just anybody that doesn't. I don't know. It's just stupid. Which ones are the libtards? Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Um, small example of vocal minority, and I was going to throw this out, and then we can go ahead and get the hell out of here for the night. But there was an issue on I think it was a Southwest Airlines or American Airlines flight where a video went viral of this guy just berating this woman for reclining her seat, and he was all pissed off and went just going
Oh
nuts
my
at this
god,
woman,
I
right?
saw this. Yeah.
Okay, so now Delta CEO came out, did an interview, and he said, first off, when you're on an airplane, you're supposed to, etiquette says that you ask the person behind you whether or not you can recline your seat, if it's okay to recline your seat. Like, then don't fucking include reclining in the fucking seat if I got to get permission from the person behind me to do it,
Yeah,
or
I don't want to talk to that asshole.
stop trying to pack so many fucking sardines in here that you don't have enough space. Then I read the parameters. Do you know how far the fucking seats recline?
Almost none.
4 inches.
Yeah,
And
nothing.
because of situations like this, they're planning a new seat that's going to recline 2 inches.
Oh my god.
Why the fuck have it recline at all if it's only going to recline 2 inches? Four
I mean,
inches
it's
isn't much at
slightly.
all. I've
Yeah.
seen the look on a woman's face when she's dealt with 4 inches. Nobody's happy about that. That's not. It doesn't make anybody happy. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But then they're really going to piss people off because they're doing it in first class too. Those first class fuckers get a 5 inch recline, but they're going to reduce them to 3.5 inches. I don't know if you've ever been in first class.
No.
You could damn near recline those fucking things back 12 inches and not bother the person behind you, ultimately, unless they've cramped that up now, too.
I
But
don't
anyway,
know.
no,
I've never.
situations like that. People get, the fucking seat reclines, dude. I can't, it is what it is. It's not my fault the airline didn't design the fucking plane, or the plane manufacturer didn't design them to where the recline doesn't impede the person behind me. But the CEO, he's like, when I fly, because
Oh
I
yeah.
I don't recline my seat primarily because I'm a CEO and don't feel it's right to
Primarily
recline my
because
seat.
I'm laying in my
You're the
private
C.
bed in the
You don't,
back of the plane.
right?
Oh my god.
You don't feel the right to recline your seat because you're the CEO, motherfucker. You should be able to lay that fucking seat down because you're the fucking CEO. But he's like,
As if he just flies commercial, right?
but he just, I never
Come on.
complain when the person in front of me reclines theirs.
Come on.
Yes, right,
I don't
because you're
feel
flying so often on those
he's
fucking
flying
planes.
he's flying private, yeah. That's
He's
why.
got his own fucking jet. Yes, I don't even want
Right.
to
I
hear
mean,
it.
come on,
I
dude.
don't want to hear it.
Stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got one of those Barca loungers or lazy boys and
Yeah.
all that shit. But yeah, so it was funny that little things like that, will cause, it's not the primary motivation, but it is a part of a larger issue where people have this issue with the reclining seats, to where they're gonna fuck with the whole program. And just, I'm like, wow,
The
that's
fuck
fucked
it
up.
up for everyone because one person was a
Right,
douchebag.
right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the vocal minority bullshit that we deal with in this country. That's how it works.
Fucking hate people. God damn it, Robert. Why do you have to do this to me?
I didn't give birth to them all, John.
I think you did.
I did.
Oh my
All
god.
right, John. I'm ready to get the hell out of here, folks. If you like what you're
Yeah.
hearing, hit the like button. If you haven't done it already, hit the subscribe button. If you're not still here, get the fuck back on and hit the like button. If you didn't already. Ed says, "What about Warren flying a private jet? How far back do you think she can recline?" Um, I don't know. I don't. It depends on how much fire water she's had. Uh, so, John, if they look around out there on the interpipes, where can they find us?
Yes, you can find us on Twitter at the Gen Gap P. You can find our Discord server down below, and you can find us on Freedom Scoop at freedomscoop.com. As well as some other content creators like Ed, who has been in here, Ed's blog, Twitter, on DLive, and you can also buy our T-shirts while you're over there, like the one I'm wearing currently.
That's a nice shirt. I
It is
like
a
it.
nice shirt.
I should
It's
get
actually
one.
very comfortable as well. It's very good material, very comfortable, and you can get 15% off by putting in the promo code GenGap.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
the 15% gap.
that's
All
right,
right.
15% gap. And also, just to remind everyone,
I
I
was
will
gonna let
be
him know.
I will be on RRC's channel on Monday, immediately after this show.
Which I was going
So
to
make
tell him
sure.
about if you'd let me
Well,
talk about it,
I
because
was
I
in the middle of
always
my
talk about the
so
shows, John. Anyway, so we will be back again on Monday night at 9:30 for our regular Shooting the Shit episode, which
9
John,
9 p.m.
or 9, did I say 9:30? Wow.
You did.
I'm used to 8:30, 9:30, and 9. And yeah, it's crack. I got to smoke less
I
crack.
just yeah.
Um, so we'll be back at Monday at 9 p.m. for Shooting the Shit, which John is going to then follow up with RRC afterwards on RRC's
Yeah.
show at 10 p.m. That is going to be on his birthday on the old
Yes.
17th. That's
Birthday.
the 17th. Is that correct?
That is the
sir?
17th, correct.
And
Yes.
we will then, of course, be back next Friday for our regular episode at 8:30. I don't think there's anything exciting going on outside of that. So much love to everybody that showed up tonight. Lots of good conversation, some goofy conversation, and then there was John.
And there was John.
And then there was John. Still working on getting Jane on the show, so show your support, show your love for that. Big mad shout out to Henry, brother. You helped a brother out. I'm going to make good use of that, as far as I can tell, unless I run out of opioids. Yeah, I don't remember how many I have. So I think I can. I think I'll be okay though. Anyway, we're gonna get the hell out of here, John. Thanks for stopping by. Peace out. Much love, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yep. See you guys.